Ireland's Six Nations squad reveal. 5 key takeaways from Andy Farrell selection. Ireland's 23-man squad for their opening Six Nations clash against France on Thursday has finally been confirmed, and Andy Farrell's choices are already generating headlines. With injuries, suspensions, and form shaping the selection, the Irish coach has produced a squad that blends experience with some intriguing new inclusions. Here are the 5 key takeaways from Ireland's announcement. 1. A backline shaped by injuries and suspensions. Ireland's backline has undergone several changes since their bruising 24-13 loss to South Africa in the Autumn Nations series, with 7 changes in total to the starting 15. Injury alone accounts for 4 of these alterations, Bundee Aki's suspension another, and the remaining 2 decisions were purely form-based. AT fullback Jamie Osborne makes his comeback from shoulder injury sustained against Japan in November, taking over from Mac Hansen. Osborne has not played since early November, making this a perfectly timed return for Ireland in the Stade de France opener. Hugo Keenan, another potential selection in the back 3, was ruled out after an injury sustained at training in Portugal last week. Inside center sees the return of Stuart McCloskey. The Ulster star missed the Autumn Nations series due to injury, and with Bundee Aki suspended for verbal misconduct towards match officials, McCloskey steps back into a key midfield role. On the left wing, Jacob Stockdale earns his first Six Nations start since 2021. Stockdale replaces James Lowe, whose recent form has not been compelling enough to retain his spot, giving Ireland a blend of experience and hunger in attack. Meanwhile, the remaining backs, Tommy O'Brien, right wing, Garry Ringrose, outside center, and halfbacks Sam Prendergast and Jamison Gibson-Park retain their places from the Springboks match. Farrell clearly values continuity in these positions while juggling injuries and suspension elsewhere. 2. A pack forced to adapt. Ireland's forwards have been hit hard by injuries, leaving Farrell with some difficult selection decisions. Both Andrew Porter and Tadhg Furlong are unavailable, creating opportunities for Jeremy Loughman and Thomas Clarkson to make their first Six Nations starts at prop. Joe McCarthy returns to fitness, pushing James Ryan to the bench following his red card against South Africa. Cian Prendergast, who impressed as a replacement in that match, is promoted to start alongside injured Ryan Baird. Hooker Dan Sheehan, open side Josh van der Flier, and number 8 and captain Caelan Doris remain as the retained core of the pack. Farrell's bench sees a shift from the 5 forwards, 3-back split used against South Africa to a 6 forwards, 2 backs configuration. The bench includes loosehead Michael Milne replacing the injured Paddy McCarthy, Jack Conan and James Ryan providing back row cover, Nick Timoni as the extra forward, halfback duo Craig Casey and Jack Crowley providing cover in the spine. This new structure is clearly designed to support Ireland's inexperienced front rowers and to maintain balance across the field. 3. The number 10 debate. Sam Prendergast gets the nod. Arguably the biggest talking point of Ireland's squad selection is the identity of the fly half. The Autumn Nations series left more questions than answers. Sam Prendergast and Jack Crowley shared starting duties in a 4-match campaign, neither producing a definitive performance that would cement their spot. Harry Byrne's resurgence at Leinster this winter briefly entered the debate. Having spent last year on loan at Bristol, Byrne was considered by some pundits, including Andrew Trimble, as a potential starter against France. However, Farrell ultimately selected Prendergast, prioritizing his ability to spark attacking play. Prendergast's attacking qualities are undeniable. His snappy passing, vision for space, and tactical kicking, including a notable cross-kick assist to Jordan Larmour against Harlequins, are exactly what Ireland need to challenge France in Paris. Defensively, he has been inconsistent. For example, he was at fault for 2 tries in La Rochelle's Champions Cup match last month. Yet Farrell's choice reflects a calculated risk. The potential for game-changing moments outweighs safe, steady play. Crowley is named as Prendergast's backup, ready to step in if Ireland required defensive stability or creative variation later in a match. 4. A scrum under pressure. Ireland's front row situation is arguably the most precarious aspect of the squad. Following their Autumn Nations series performance against South Africa, concerns over the scrum were already high. The yellow carding of Andrew Porter and then Paddy McCarthy for repeated infringements expose vulnerabilities that Farrell's team must now address with rookies. With leading looseheads Porter, McCarthy, and Jack Boyle, along with Tadhg Furlong all unavailable, Ireland's front row will feature rookies Jeremy Loughman and Thomas Clarkson as starters, backed by Michael Milne and experienced tight head Finlay Bealham on the bench. Bealham's presence will help stabilize proceedings, but the situation still highlights a lack of depth at prop, a challenge mirrored across the Irish provinces. Provincial teams have scrambled to cover for injuries this season, with Leinster bringing in Rabah Slimani, Munster signing Michael Alalatoa, and Ulster recruiting Wallaby Angus Bell. At test level, Ireland will need composure and resilience from inexperienced props in a match where every scrum will be closely watched. This ongoing scarcity of front-row depth was anticipated. Since David Humphreys replaced David Nicifera as high-performance boss in 2024, Irish rugby has been trying to address weaknesses in the pathway, but solutions are long-term. For Thursday, the rookies will face a baptism by fire to 5. Comeback stories, Jacob Stockdale and forward progress. While there are questions about the front row and fly half, there are also positive stories to highlight. Jacob Stockdale's return to the Six Nations squad after a lengthy absence is one of the more compelling narratives. Stockdale emerged as a star under Joe Schmidt, finishing the 2018 Six Nations as player of the tournament. Since then, injuries and form issues limited his test appearances, including a hamstring issue in November 2024 and a shoulder injury last July. His selection for the left wing represents a personal triumph and a potential boost for Ireland's attacking options. Another notable development is Cian Prendergast's inclusion at number 6. Prendergast, who developed outside the Leinster Academy and spent formative years at Connacht, demonstrates that there are pathways into the Irish team beyond the traditional powerhouses. Starting in Paris alongside his younger brother in the number 10 jersey adds a compelling family narrative to the team's dynamic. Leinster still has a dominant influence over the squad. 10 starters and 3 subs hail from the province. Munster and Ulster have contributed a handful of starters and replacements, and Connacht has 1 starter and 1 sub. This balance ensures representation across all provinces, though Leinster's influence is unmistakable. Conclusion. A precarious but exciting squad. Farrell selection presents a team of contrasts. Youth and experience, rookies and seasoned campaigners, provincial loyalties, and cross-provincial development. The backline has been bolstered with returning stars like McCloskey and Osborne, while Stockdale offers attacking flair. The pack, meanwhile, is an uncharted territory, with rookies facing the daunting challenge of the French front row. Ireland will need to manage these challenges carefully, particularly in set-piece situations. The 6/2 bench indicates Farrell's awareness of vulnerabilities and his desire to mitigate risks. Meanwhile, Prendergast's number 10 selection signals intent. Ireland will seek to play expansively, creating opportunities to challenge the French defense from the outset. Thursday's opener at Stade de France promises to be a fascinating test of Farrell's squad management, resilience, and tactical planning. Injuries, inexperience, and pressure on key positions set up a compelling storyline for the start of the Six Nations. Stockdale's comeback, Prendergast's creative spark, and the rookies in the front row all ensure there is more to watch than the final score. For Irish rugby fans, the excitement comes not just from the challenge of France, but from witnessing a squad navigating adversity while seeking to perform at the highest level. This Six Nations promises drama, narratives of perseverance, and a chance for Ireland to demonstrate depth, resilience, and ambition on one of the sport's biggest stages.